Good morning everyone. My name is Dr. Vaibhav Bachua from Department of Electronic Science under the School of Physical Science. Today I am going to deliver introduction lecture on optical fiber communication, which is a subject for applied electronics students and electronic science students. Okay. So first of all, to start this subject, the Charles K. Kuo, which got the Nobel Prize in 2009 for the optical fiber subject. So this is a Nobel Prize subject, so we are studying this subject. So in 2009 Charles Kuo got the Nobel Prize for the groundbreaking achievements for concerning the transmission of lights in fiber for optical fiber communication. So next, today we are taking review of modulation scheme, communication channels, general optic communication system, and the advantages and disadvantages of the optical fiber communication. Okay. First of all, we will review the modulation scheme. In day-to-day life, we came across the different modulation scheme. From MSc first year, we studied, or at undergrad level we studied lot of modulation schemes. First of all, it is divided into two types of modulation scheme. First, it is called the analog modulation scheme. Second one is the digital modulation scheme. So in analog modulation, we studied the amplitude modulation, which is called AM. In the AM system, the input audio signal or input message signal come with the mixer with the carrier signal, which has a high frequency, and according to your voice or input signal, amplitude is changing. So it is called the amplitude modulation signal, that is AM. So the frequency band for AM is 540 kilohertz to 1180 kilohertz. Okay. So this is the AM system. And so disadvantages of AM system: it is very immune to noise, it is not immune to the noise. Okay. So because of noise levels in atmosphere, it will cause the disturbances which cause the less fidelity, etc. So to came across the AM disadvantages, FM system, that is frequency modulation scheme, is introduced. Frequency modulation scheme, in that input frequency of the signal changes with the carrier of the signal. Okay. So carrier frequency changes with the input signal, that is called FM. So main frequency band for FM is 88 megahertz to 108 megahertz. Okay. So main advantage of FM over the AM is it has frequency reusable. So in AM there is a frequency band 540 to 1180 kilohertz. So it has low energy, as a frequency lower, it has low energy, so it can be reflected to the troposphere or the atmospheric layers, and it will be reflected back to long distances. So this leads, we cannot use AM as a frequency reuse system, but in FM there is a high frequency, so it has a lot of power in the frequency. So it will travel through only the radius of 60 to 80 kilometers. After that same frequency we can reuse for the different cities. So that is the main advantage for the FM, and it is very immune to the noise. Okay, that is we can get the stereo quality audio signals in FM. Further, that the analog modulation goes to the pulse amplitude modulation, which in which the amplitude of the signal is carrying out with the change in the amplitude, that is the pulse amplitude modulation. Then further we are proceeding to the analog modulation, it's called the pulse width modulation, which is very popular modulation scheme that will be used in wireless technologies such as remote controls of the cars and etc. That is the PWM. In that input signal is a square wave, and the time between the square wave is varying, that is called PWM, pulse width modulation. Always the time duration of the square wave is changing according to your input signal. So that is PWM. Then further analog modulation is PPM, that is pulse position modulation. Then another modulation scheme comes, that is amplitude shift keying, which is very prominent modulation, always used in various analog radio receivers like wireless key, car entry, and etc. analog amplitude shift keying. Then after another modulation scheme is frequency shift keying. Then it is the further that the phase shift keying is technique is used. In phase shift keying there are different types are used. Phase shift means phase shift keying, the phase of the signal changes 2 times according to the input signal, and then quadrature phase shift keying, that phase is changing 4 times according to input signal. Then QAM, MSK, GMSK is the modulation scheme that is used in GSM system, that is Gaussian minimum shift keying. Then further a very prominent modulation scheme is the spread spectrum. In spread spectrum there are 2 types of types are used, that is a direct frequency spread spectrum and frequency hop spread spectrum, which is very old technique used for the mobile communication. Nowadays only the frequency hop spread spectrum is used in Bluetooth technology, still used. Then we are moving to the digital modulation scheme, that is pulse code modulation, in that the input signal converted into digital form using the sampling quantization technique. After that this signal is given to the quantization levels and it is converted into digital form. So it is called pulse code modulation. So analog signal directly converted into digital form, it is a pulse code modulation. So for improvement in the pulse code modulation is differential pulse code modulation. In this signal only the redundancy of the signals is removed. Okay, so again the enhancement of the differential pulse code modulation is delta modulation. It has only the advantage of delta modulation is gives the digital output when the signal has a different levels of the voltages. If the same levels of voltages are repeated, it will not change the output. So that is the delta modulation. So delta modulation suffers with the granular noise and step overload. These are the problems in the delta modulation. So we further moved to the enhanced that is adaptive delta modulation, in that according to we can change the step size of the delta modulation according to what means how speed of the signal is moving. So according to the signal speed, step size is changing in the adaptive delta modulation. Then one more enhancement in the adaptive delta modulation is the delta sigma modulation. These are the digital schemes which are following in nowadays, but for the optical fiber communication we are following the digital data scheme only, because in the optical fiber communication the analog data is firstly converted into digital form, and as a transmission media we are using the optical fiber as a transmission media. So the complete optical fiber communication, the digital modulation scheme is used. It may be PCM, delta, adaptive delta or delta sigma. Then further we are moving to the what are the communication channels used in our day to day life. First communication channel we are used for the landline communication or the telephone communication is twisted cable pair, which has the bandwidth of bandwidth in kilohertz. So we can transmit only voices in the twisted cable, twisted pair cable. So further that the coaxial cable comes, it has the bandwidth in the megahertz. So we can see the cable TV audio and video simultaneously in coaxial cable. And further enhancement of the coaxial cable goes to the waveguides. So waveguides can use frequency in gigahertz. So we can it has the gigahertz bandwidth. So we can use microwave as a carriers in the waveguides. Okay. So further that so for wireless communication we are using air or space in the medium. So all mobile towers etc., mobile communication working on the air space communication, which has bandwidth of kilohertz to gigahertz. So further we are moving to the our today's topic, that is optical fiber. So optical fiber has bandwidth in the terahertz. So one can send the voice, video, broadband internet or any services in the optical fiber communication, and light is a carrier in the optical fiber communication. So the speed is very high and data rate is very high. So this is the communication channel review. So and this is the optical fiber network connected via worldwide, country to country, continent to continent, all is connected by the optical fiber as shown in this figure. Okay. So, this is the optical fiber network in India, which is by mainly followed by RailTel system. So, it covers the 90% India as by the optical fiber. So, question arises, our mobile system is working wirelessly. So, it's partially working wirelessly, not completely. Your mobile phone to a tower communication is wireless, but tower to tower, city to city, town to town, village to village and district to districts are always connected through the optical fiber. So, optical fiber is the backbone for the today's communication system. So, for the optical, when we are moving to the optical fiber communication, we have to consider the frequency bands. So, AM, FM we see comes with the long waves radio frequency band. So, optical fiber come within the 1.7 micrometer to 0.8 micrometer band, which is the visible light band. So, it is in terms of wavelength. So, so frequency goes in the terahertz. So, this is the optical communication band 1.7 micrometer to 0.8 micrometer. So, this is the general communication system. First information source, that is the any analog data converted into digital form. So, it is clear that we require the digital data in optical fiber communication. We have to first convert the analog data into digital form to any modulation scheme that we described earlier, that is PCM, delta modulation, okay, all those things. Then it is called the digital analog data converted into digital form, it is called the information source. So, it is given to the transmitter. In the transmitter, in optical fiber communication, the lasers and LEDs are used. So, as a transmission media, after the transmission media, we are using the optical fiber. So, main modulation here is it is light intensity modulation. Optical fiber often called the light intensity modulation. When we are considering the digital data form, it will becomes in the square wave form. Okay. So, when we are giving data to the transmitter, that is LED or laser, it will be turn on the LED or turn off the LED, or it will be turn on the laser, it will be turn off the laser, means data is going on off form, that is in the square wave form, and the transmission media is optical fiber. At the receiver, the same data of the light, that is which is in on off form, which is received at modulator. Modulator is nothing but the photodiode, phototransistor, any optical receiver which has high quantum efficiency, these are receivers, and data, again light data is converted into electrical form or in the form of voltage or current, then it is converted again. So, it is comes in the digital form. Then for demodulation, again digital is converted into analog form. This is the way of optical communication system. So, advantages of optical fiber communications. So, it has enormous potential bandwidth. The optical carrier frequency in the range of 10 raised to 13 to 10 raised to 16 hertz. Okay, these are the enormous bandwidth, and it has around bandwidth in the gigahertz. Okay, so we can send signals very long without disturbance or noise. The small size and weight, as we see, the optical fibers very small, these are very thin like a hair, So, it is very small diameters, and often diameter goes in micrometer and etc. Okay. Then after that, it has the very good electrical isolation. So, what happens when we are using the any analog modulation or digital modulation, so it can be disturbed by external noise or electromagnetic waves. So, here in optical fiber communication, light itself is a carrier. So, light itself is electromagnetic wave. So, it can be immune to the noise, it can be immune to the electromagnetic interference. So, this is the advantage, and it is another important advantage of optical fiber communication, immunity to the interface and crosstalk. Then signal security, as we know nowadays hacking is a very issue in the communication system. So anyone can hack wireless communication very easily, but in the optical fiber the light itself is a carrier, and at decoder side only when you have a decoder then you can decode the signals. Okay, and it is when we are decoding signal you are getting only digital signals, you are not getting the analog signal. Again we have to some logic or circuit to convert into digital form. So it is a secure way to transmit the lights. Once for any means the signal is hacked, so what will we get in the output is light, not the data. So that is the important of the optical fiber communication. So it has the low transmission loss also. So as we know, all we see the transmission media from twisted pair to coaxial lines, waveguides and optical fibers. So it has very low transmission loss because light itself is a carrier and it will follow the total internal reflection principle. So it has very low loss and has the 20 to 50 years of life. So typical loss is 0.15 dB per kilometer, which is very low. Other communication channels has a loss in the dBs per kilometer. So it has very rigidness and flexibility. So all optical, so as we know, all optical fibers are the backbones of today's communication system. So rigidness and flexibility is the most important part. So it has covered with the Kevlar, which is bulletproof material for optical fiber. So it will be prone from the or earthquakes, any pressure or any kind of forces, external forces. So these are very flexible and tough. So it has very reliable and easy for maintenance. It has potential low cost compared to the waveguides and towers setting system. So next concept is the ray theory of transmission. So ray theory of transmission is a principle of the optical fiber. So this is the optical fiber. It has the optical fiber is made up of silica. Silica nothing but it is a purified sand. Okay, if we purified the sand, it will be converted into the glass, and glass is converted into silica. Silica means glass, and it is forms the optical fiber. So optical fiber has two types of structure. It has core, has refractive index of N1, and it has cladding, has refractive index of N2. So that is the optical fiber cylindrical structure. So here is the Snell's law. Snell's law is the basic to understand the optical fiber communication. The Snell's law states that N1's Ni sin theta I is equal to Nr sin theta r, that is incident ray is equal to reflected ray. That is the Snell's law. If we understand the Snell's law, we can easily understand the optical fiber communication. So ray theory of refraction. So there are three types of reflection we are using. First is refraction, one is reflection, and another is total internal reflection. So part we are A is saying that is called refraction. So in that incident ray theta 1 is incident on the glass, which has N1 refractive index, and another medium is air, which has N2 refractive index. One incident ray incident on the glass, when it changes the medium, it will change its angle slightly. So it is called refraction, and some 99% light in this case is refracted and 0.1% is reflected back. It is called the refraction. The refraction principle is N1 sin theta 1 is equal to N2 sin theta 2, that is sin theta 1 upon sin theta 2 is equal to N2 by N1. So another important concept is critical angle. So critical angle is sin theta c is equal to N2 by N1. So it is called critical angle. In the critical angle, when we shoot the light wave through the critical angle, it will be useful for the total internal reflection. So equation for the critical angle is sin theta c is equal to N2 by N1. So now the principle of total internal reflection comes. Here angle of incident is greater than the critical angle, light is reflected back into the originating dielectric medium with high efficiency around 99.9%. It is called the total internal reflection. So this is the typical total internal reflection in the optical fiber. It will incident angle always greater than the critical angle, which is less than 90 minus theta c. So another concept is the acceptance angle. Acceptance angle is the theta a is the maximum angle to exist at which light may enter in the optical fiber in order to propagate it, and is often referred as the acceptance angle for the fiber as shown in the diagram, acceptance angle theta A. So, another important concept is the numerical aperture. So, according to Snell's law, we have two mediums here. One, when incident ray come from the medium is air, where it is entered, it is a glass medium. Then another cladding has another glass medium with different refractive indexes. So, Snell's law is given by n0 sin theta 1 is equal to n1 sin theta 2. It is the first equation according to Snell's law. Then it will be created for total internal after total internal reflection, it will created one triangle. It is called ABC triangle. So, theta is equal to pi by 2 minus theta 2. So, it is a right angle triangle. So, according to we can find the equation theta is equal to theta by 2 pi by 2 minus theta 2. So, it gives the second equation. Then another equation is n0 sin theta 1 is equal to n1 sin theta. So, we can combine the equation and we can form the third equation, n0 sin theta 1 is equal to n1 1 minus sin square theta minus 1 by 2. So, these are the equations, and final equation for the numerical aperture after solving all those equation, 5 equation. So, main equation for the numerical aperture is n0 sin theta A, which is n1 square minus n2 square raised to 1/2. This is the main formula for numerical aperture. So, if we know the diffractive index differences, so one can find the refractive indexes also. So, the formula is given here. So, first of all we will see first problem what we learned today. So, first is a silica optical fiber with a core diameter large enough to consider a ray theory. The analysis has core refractive index of 1.50 and cladding refractive index of 1.47. So, we have to determine the critical angle at the core cladding interface, numerical aperture for the fiber and acceptance angle for the fiber. So, we know the theta c is critical angle. So, sin inverse of n2 by n1 is equal to sin inverse of n2 is 1.47 and n1 is 1.50. So, we can find the inverse of it is 78.5 degree. Say then numerical aperture is Na is equal to n1 square minus n2 square raised to half, it is 0.30, and acceptance angle of theta A is equal to sin inverse of Na, that is sin inverse of 0.30 is 17.4 degree. So, this is the review we taken today. So, we can stop here and we will further proceed. Stay safe.